Hello everyone and welcome to the GMS Magazine RPG Reviews. I am PACO GARCIA and in this episode I bring you a review of the Genius Guide to More Druid Talents from Rogue Genius Games. The following review has been written by Thilo Graf, also known as Endzeitgeist. For more reviews like these, please visit his website at endzeitgeist.com and please support his Patreon. The address is in the show notes as well as in the top left corner if you are watching the video in the YouTube channel rather than listening to our podcast. This expansion for the Talented Druid clocks in at a massive 40 pages with 1 page front cover, 1 for editorial, 1 for SRD, 3 for advertising and 1 blank page, which leaves us with 33 pages of content. So let's take a look, but before that, just to let you know that this PDF was moved up the reviewing queue at the request of one of the Patreon supporters. So it means it works. Okay, here things become interesting. As we get new stuff where the core PDF provides the Talented Druid framework, this one presents new options, including guidelines right in the introduction that allows for their use in context with a regular Druid class. The edges this time round take no prisoner and tie in with pretty widespread and beloved concepts. It begins in a comparatively subdued manner with astrology, which first allows for the consultation of stars to glean knowledge from them and then later provides deeper insight, granting knowledge akin to mighty divinations. This edge also acts as a prerequisite for plenty of talents pertaining moons, planets, etc., allowing you to depict a natural scholar of the supralunar realms. Then things start to get very interesting indeed. The leyline edge for spellcasting druids, which for once does not consider itself with tapping into ley lines per se, but instead focuses on moving them in a way enhancing areas as more and more ley lines are bundled. This can result in a variety of options that range from making to areas seem haunted to mists and the like, finally culminating in the option to make the area behave as a dead magic zone. As a minor complying, as written, the movement of ley lines is tied to gaining access to a new level of spell casting, with no minor tweaks included. This means that the ability is more useful for NPCs and campaigns where the druid doesn't move too much. An understandable balancing tweak, but also one that I feel could have used a minor means to temporarily bypass. That being said, I do love that this provides rules to create druidic places of power. As an aside, I'm living not too far from a real-life druidic grove from ancient times, and considering the atmosphere of that place, yeah, I can see it. Speaking of groves, there is an edge to erect a monument which, once more, ties into the ley line edge as a sort of anchor for ley lines, and destroying these can have a variety of rather painful effects. In a way, this is another story option that primarily comes into play in narrative contexts as well as for NPCs, so some sort of direct benefit would have been nice. For example, in the context of kingdom building, these probably should have repercussions and effects. The PDF also presents lycanthropy in its natural form as an option, so not as a curse, but as a shape-changing trick that's not infectious. That's a big plus. The PDF actually differentiates between different types of lycanthropy regarding abilities granted. Wereshark druids have different tricks than werebats. That's a good call. Being reincarnated is also included, and then there would be the words of creation. These are 9 words spoken at the dawn of time, and a druid with this edge gains linguistic as a class skill. The edge may be taken multiple times, with each time providing access to 1 word of creation, provided a minimum level prerequisites for having more than 1 are being met. These words duplicate spell effects with 10 plus spell level plus wisdom modifier denoting the DC, and class level as CL. These behave as spells that have compulsory verbal component and may be dismissed as a free action. Rules to identify them via spellcraft are provided, and only one word may be in effect at any given time, provided the no talents have been learned to bypass said limit. The respective words each denote their action to activate and have an interesting thing in common, namely that new abilities are not unlocked based on level progression but on specialization. The more words of creation you know, the more abilities you will be able to execute per word, and the better they become. The words are the four traditional elements: fate, space, time, life, death. To give you an example, air nets the druid orang as a bonus language and lets them summon winds in a 20 feet per druid level radius of up to strong force as a swift action. Higher numbers of words of creation unlock gusts of wind as an at will spell, and later that one may be redirected and maintained as a swift action. Take that! Overpowered archery builds, quicker casting, longer range, and greater wind force may be found as well, though the 9-word version uses untyped damage. And yes, I would complain about that, but considering that whirlwind etc. also use untyped damage, I won't. Still, I wished the PDF had codified the damage incurred by windstorms in a concise manner. I was always irked by Pathfinder 1 not typing damage incurred from storms etc. properly, but that may be me. Death lets the druid cause a creature below 0 hit points unstable to resume dying, behaving as bleed as a spell. Considering that bleed is a standard action to cast, which also is the default of the spell, I would have considered that it wise to decrease that to a free or immediate action. Druids with more words get an at-will effect somewhat akin to death knell and higher hit points thresholds, slowly building up to power word, kill-esque levels. Nice. At this point, you get the idea. In a way, this language of creation engine is certainly better than Paizo's ill-fated words of power engine, and as far as suite of class abilities is concerned, provides a surprisingly nice sub-engine. I should also mention that no, life's past healing options may not be effectively cheesed, though there is a way, so let me indulge in a bit of truly grotesque theory crafting. The base word nets an aura that heals targets, but only when they are at a negative hit points. Their regular word applications have a hard cap on how often they may affect a target in a given time frame, but this aura does not. So theoretically, provided that you can move hit points around freely, you could use a bunch of half-dead kittens and the aura with hit points transfer for unlimited healing. Slow, unlimited healing that is contingent upon keeping all creatures close to death's door and on the ability to move hit points from multiple targets to others. Yeah, you know what? For once, I'm going to shut my trap and tuck my box of kittens away. As an aside, if you're interested in the space word, which focuses on the manipulation of sizes, I strongly urge you to get the fantastic micro-sized adventures by Everybody Games, and potentially micro-sized templates for not only more options, but also a sped up playing experience. Similarly, de-aging becomes more comfortable to use with Childhood Adventures book, but that as an aside. Anyways. So, the edges provide a rather distinct array of options here. How do the talents fare? Well, here the words of creation come fully into their own, expand from options to essentially a whole mode to play a druid of its own. Want an armor of energy with effects contingent on word of creation used? No, okay, you can have that. Want to awaken animal and plants? There's a talent for that. Want to be a good druid, always accompanied by blue skies? Queuing for Frankfurter's classic song. Well, you can have that. As an aside, I love this one. It's just so nice. Just like an ability that, you know, a hero would take. And yes, if you are an edgelord, you can choose dark skies instead. It's probably what folks would expect me to gravitate towards, but personally, blue skies. Breathing life back into the falling, if you know the word of creation, possible. Those that know the earth word can gain a borrow speed. Know the words on fire and water? You can provide solace from cold and heat. Did I mention that each word has its own associated curse that can be unlocked with the right talent? These are potent and thankfully cannot be spammed. But oh boy, those cursed will remember your name. Speaking of curses, you don't like non-infectious lycanthropy? There is a talent here to change that and spread the curse of the beast. Oh, and yes, hybrid shapes may be enhanced further. Want to be diurnal or nocturnal? Talents included for that. And yes, you can take both. If you want somewhat elemental features and abilities, you may wish to consult the Elemental Ages ability tree, and there is a huge, as in spanning multiple pages, talent that may be taken multiple times, allowing you to take on more Fey-like properties. Establishing territories to guard over, coaxing mental into shape, the ability to enter hibernation, and what about being such a brilliant herbalist that you can duplicate potent condition heals? At higher levels, we have Swarm Master themed tricks and options to entomb the unfortunate, weaponry granted by words of creation. You get the idea. But how does this retain balance? Well, there always is the hard cap on words of creation in effect, and even though the base engine seemingly implies otherwise at one point, this cap remains pretty fixed. On the plus side, there is a combination of effects and synergies galore. Nope, no air and death? Congrats, you can now generate a nauseating miasma. If you like combo playstyles and organic character evolution, you'll most sure enjoy this material. And yes, there is the good old save versus wall of text summary of talents by general theme to help prevent choice paralysis. Conclusion: editing and formatting are top notch on a formal and rules language level. Layout adheres to the Series 2 column full color standard with its wide margins, but presents a lot of crunch in its lengthy pages with stock photography and artwork employed. The PDF has bookmarks for chapter headers, but not individual talents or edges. Stephen Rowe's expansion for the Talented Druid really makes it shine. The word of creation engine is a mighty tool that can drastically shift how you play a druid. Any druid, really. Add to that the other themes, including the massive faith theme of rain and the astrology angle, and we arrive at a supplement that ranks as easily one of the best druid expansions released for Pathfinder role-playing game 1st edition. I can unanimously recommend this title gem to fans of the druid. My final verdict will clock in at 5 stars plus the seal of approval. Endzeitgeist out. And so am I. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Please do remember to leave us our comments, your comments if you're watching the video, and do subscribe and leave us a rating and kind of say something about us nice in iTunes, which is truly and genuinely appreciated. Remember to subscribe, and until the next time, thank you once again for being there, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Take care.